All right, welcome to Talking Football Week 6 NFL 4-pack. I'm Bobby Skinner here with Justin Pennick. Got four things we're going to do. We're going to do our little top 5 AFC Power Rankings because I feel like the AFC is pretty interesting right now. We're going to talk a little about Aaron Rodgers, which might get a little heated. We're going to talk about the Bears, who I think aren't getting enough credit, and we're going to talk about Adam Gase and the Jets. We got to get our jabs in on them. Justin, how you doing, my man?
Bobby Skinner, hello. Glad the NFL went relatively smoothly, especially on Sunday. There were no Corolla cases, and hopefully that continues. It was kind of fun seeing football 5 p.m. on a Monday. We are recording after the Bills-Chiefs game, so we get the chance to even talk about that. It was kind of fun watching that because, especially me, I'm a person who works now, so it's tough for me to stay up during these night games and to watch these primetime games.
Yep, some people are just grinders like me. They'll stay up till 4 a.m. and get up at 6. You know, not everyone's built for it.
No, I'm not.
You know, it's a hard knock life being a sports fan. People don't understand how much it takes to be a sports fan. Is there ever times where you are just like, man, if I wasn't a sports fan, like I would just get to do so much more things that I enjoy, you know? Where it's like I wouldn't have to leave the beach today to catch the Alabama game.
The only thing I would genuinely watch is the Giants, and I probably wouldn't watch anything else.
Yeah. Well, Giants are winners, by the way, if you haven't noticed. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into our AFC Power Rankings. Let's talk about some winners. And we'll let it fill in as we go. We'll try and be somewhat quick on this. Let's start at the top. Who do you got number 1 as your power ranking? On the count of 3, let's see if we have 1, 2, 3, the Chiefs.
Titans.
Who
did you say?
I said the Chiefs. Okay,
Ooh.
I wanted to go Titans, Justin, but I had to go Chiefs. I get that they lost to the Raiders, but they put up points in that game, and you know what? They've beaten the Patriots. Now they beat the Bills pretty handily, although the Bills came and made it competitive towards the end. And the Bills are a team I like. I know people are looking for ways to trash Josh Allen. I think the Chiefs, Super Bowl, champions. And at the end of the day, they have Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid in that offense. And as much as I like the Titans, I don't know how much I can trust Ryan Tannehill. The Ravens still have questions. The Steelers, which we'll talk about, they've been good, but the Chiefs, I just trust them the most as my number 1 in the power rankings.
And that makes sense. And the Chiefs aren't far behind from the Titans in mine. We'll save that. But Bobby, the Bills defense has been putrid. The Bills defense, they've been 27th in the NFL in DVOA, according to Football Outsiders. And this was before this week. They may actually go up a little bit because they relatively did stop Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense. Hey, holding them to 23 points within the fourth quarter, I consider that stopping them. And what they did in the first half, which I found to be very impressive, is they were game planning and they were forcing the Chiefs to run the ball. And even though Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he had some nice gains here and there, not preventing Patrick Mahomes from not throwing the football is the best thing that you can do when you're playing the Chiefs, because you're not going to completely stop that offense. You're just going to be able to contain and slow them down. That's exactly what the Raiders did, and the Patriots could only do it for so long with such a lackluster offense. But the Bills, after having a putrid start to the season on the defensive side of the ball, again, for the third week in a row, relatively held the Chiefs offense in check. And it wasn't until the final 5-6 minutes of the game where Patrick Mahomes just made some banana throws, and that was it. They sealed it.
Yeah, like I said, I like the Titans, but at the end of the day, it was just, to me, it's like, which one of these QBs do I trust the most? And to me, it's Patrick Mahomes night and day compared to the rest. But you got the Titans number 1. I mean, talk about them, why you have them above the Chiefs.
Yeah, Bobby, why I have the Titans number 1, and it's because the quarterback, Ryan Tannehill, is putting up a second season / I guess, now at this point, he's almost at a full 16 game slate of starting. He's getting close to it as the Titans starting quarterback. So he's put together a season sample size. And besides the playoff game, which the playoffs are important, and we should consider playoff games in our evaluation and not just ignore those things, but he's put up the consistent performance. And if anything, he's looked better this year. Bobby, I have some NFL Next Gen stats that I found and that I've looked up. He has 2.6 seconds average time to throw in the pocket, which is not holding onto the ball forever, but also not getting rid of the ball really quickly. But his CPOE and his completion percentage over expected, which is basically measuring accuracy, it's 4th in the NFL right now through 6 weeks. His intended air yards is 7.6. So sure, he's not really throwing the ball down the field, but that's more than average. That is above average. Bobby, he has been so good. He's been so efficient. He's top 5 in the National Football League in quarterback rating, according to Football Outsiders. He continues to be efficient, and he makes everyone else around him better, including Derrick Henry.
What I like is they're just complete. Like you said, I mean, Tannehill obviously completing 70% of his passes, 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But Henry's a beast, dude. He's just he's just really monstrous, man. It's hard to put into words like how much of a beast he is. And then as far as the guys around them, I mean, A.J. Brown, although he's only played 3 games, they spread it out. Look at, the way they spread the ball around. A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, Jonnu Smith, Humphreys. They have another tight end whose name's escaping me. What worries me, though, is because I highlighted their offensive line in a video last week. They did lose their best one in Taylor Lewan. He tore his ACL. So that does worry me a little bit to see how Tannehill does without him and without that. Lewan's more of a mauler in the run game than he is as a pass protector. But, we'll see how, what the guy's name is, like Ty Sambrailo or whatever. See how he does. Yeah. He played a little bit last week, actually. Got a series or 2. I don't know if it was a Lewan injury or what, but nonetheless, that offensive line just makes holes. It moves people around, and it sets stuff up, man. And Mike Vrabel, his genius is being highlighted for some of the stuff he did at the end of that game. And like I said, we haven't even talked about the defense that has all those, the playmakers on that side of the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Arthur Smith, he's going to be a head coach somewhere in the National Football League next year. He's the offensive coordinator for the Titans. He's really starting to get attention. He's a 38-year-old. He would be considered a young, innovative mind that a team is going to snag up, almost like a Stefanski and almost like an Adam Gase, which you would hope to be a little bit more like Stefanski instead of Adam Gase. So, Bobby, who's your number 2 team in your power ranking? Should we say it at the same time again?
Well, mine is Titans. Is yours the Chiefs?
No.
Okay. So who's your number 2 then?
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay, they're my number 3. Go. All right, so explain why they're your number 2 then.
I mean, why they're my number 2 is because, again, I always like to look to the quarterback. The way that Big Ben is operating this year, his average time to throw is 2.33 seconds. Which that is insanely quick. His time before the release is almost 2.25 seconds. I mean, that is crazy. And his completed air yards on average is 5 yards. But at the same time, his yards above replacement, according to like how much is he performing above replacement level, he's top 10 in the National Football League and he's 9th. So despite him, things relatively being right in front of him and not really him expanding the ball down the field, he is still being very, very effective for that offense. And that defense is just spectacular as well. I mean, how many all pros are on that side? Minkah Fitzpatrick, where has he been to start the year? Well, guess what? He just had a pick 6 this past weekend and he's back to making game-changing plays. So Bobby, that blowout win against the Cleveland Browns where, Baker Mayfield is remembered for why people did not like him. When you ask Baker Mayfield to just drop back in the pocket and make a throw, it's tough. And when, you make things easy on him with play action rollouts and getting him outside the pocket, they were able to prevent him from doing that. And Stefanski, that brilliant offensive mind that he is, and he definitely is, the Steelers defense were able to squash that from the start. And that was such an impressive win. And that's why they're my number 2 right now.
Yeah, and that's why, when there's a debate versus, coverage versus pass rushers, which the Steelers have both, that's why I lean elite pass rushers. Like if we're having a middle in the pack, I'll take pass coverage. But because what the Steelers have with TJ Watt, Bud Dupree, Stephon Tuitt's on pace for 10 plus sacks. Mike Hilton is becoming known as like Logan Ryan, a great nickel blitzer. I think he has like 3 sacks on the year where I have it in front of me. He has 3 sacks on the year. Like you said, the Minkah pick 6, people were like, oh, where's Minkah? It's like, okay, he's a safety. They can avoid him on the field. They didn't avoid him this game. He gets his pick six. And like you said, on the offense, they're an offense that does it all. You know, they're not an offense where it's like, man, if you could just figure out one thing. It's like, no, they can run the ball. They got Chase Claypool, who's becoming like their number one wide receiver. He's got 6 touchdowns on the year.
Big play dude. Chase Claypool has become.
Me and you both liked him out of the draft too. So yeah, I like the Steelers. The reason why I didn't put them above the Titans was simply that the teams they've beaten. The Giants, the Broncos are 2 really bad teams. The Texans are a really bad team. The Eagles are a really bad team. We just need to face it at this point. And then the Browns, we thought were a good team, and they might still be. But the way they beat the Browns does make me feel a lot better than if they would have squeaked it out.
Right.
So you have the Chiefs 3, right?
I do have the Chiefs 3. So who's your number 3? Since I've been talking so much, who's your number 3?
The Steelers. I just did my spiel. 4. Who do you have at 4? Ravens?
Who do I have at 4? I have, gosh, this is tough. Either Bills or Ravens. I guess you have to go Ravens simply because of the talent, the MVP, Lamar Jackson. I like coaching staff is tough. I do give the edge to Baltimore, especially Wink Martindale. So Ravens, I go 4, and it's for similar reasons that I kind of expressed last week with some hesitations. They played the Eagles pretty close. And similar things I expressed last week, Lamar Jackson, when you're kind of forcing that team to play ahead.
Yeah. I do think, though, the reason I have them at 4, I think I'm turning into a can Lamar do it in the playoff kind of guy. I feel like I'm kind of inching towards that territory. I'm not there yet, but I am inching towards that territory. And then 5, the Bills. I was high on the Bills, but the last 2 weeks they've beaten, the 2 top teams in my power rankings, the Chiefs and the Titans. But you know what? You got to win those games if you're going to be considered a contender. And so that's basically why I have them at 5. I still think Josh Allen's really good. He's not going to play at that MVP caliber he was the first few weeks, but I still think he's really good. But at the end of the day, I have them at 5. But it's 5 and it's what I think is a strong AFC.
Yeah, absolutely. Strong AFC. That Bills defense has time to get it together as well. So where do we want to go? We want to go Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, let's go Aaron Rodgers, because this is a kind of a mini battle we and you had in the offseason. Is this Aaron Rodgers isn't that good? Aaron Rodgers was playing like an MVP. Tampa, bad game. 16 for, a really bad game. It seems like in this LaFleur area, it's like when they lose big. 45% of his passes, 160 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But still, on the season, he's completing 66% of his passes, 275 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And I'm not going to go look at this game and be like, see, he's just not that good. Like a lot of people, and probably you are pushing right now.
No, that's not true. That's not true. I am a person that has said that just because Aaron Rodgers has had an awesome MVP-like start to 2020 doesn't mean that he wasn't an average quarterback, above average at best in 2019, 2018, 2017, etc. But also, I'm not going to make this week 6 game diminish the fact that he's at an awesome start to the season. So you can't be half pregnant in that regard.
But I don't agree with the notion of like he's been average these last years. Like he hasn't been at his best, but he hasn't been average. And Aaron Rodgers said it himself. Like his down years are career years for other guys. I mean, even the year they lost and they fired McCarthy. I mean, it wasn't putrid, And then he was injured one year, and then the year before that he had 40 touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, it hasn't been elite Aaron Rodgers, but it's also better than 75% of the QBs in the league. That's where. And one of my biggest gripes was like people are saying, "Oh, Kirk Cousins is better than him," and that's where I lost it, because I know Kirk Cousins is bad. I don't care how many good, and we've seen Baker in this Stefanski offense. Kirk Cousins is not a good QB. He's a product of Stefanski and all those weapons they had in Minnesota and Gruden's passing offense. So I'm a Jay Gruden stan. He is a product of that. And they lose Kevin Stefanski, and I get that Minnesota, they lose Stefanski and Diggs. And Kirk Cousins looks like the worst QB in the NFL. He has 10 interceptions. He's putrid. And that Vikings team sucks. And it's basically the same team. I mean, you lose Diggs. Diggs is a great player, but they still have weapons. They got Thielen. They got Rudolph. They got the guy they drafted last year in Irv Smith. They drafted Jefferson from LSU. They've got weapons.
Start.
Cook has been, he got hurt, but he hasn't been hurt the whole season. And that's where I got so aggravated. It's like, Kirk Cousins sucks. I don't care how many 1, 2, 3 good years he has. Kirk Cousins flat out stinks. And I'll go to my grave saying Kirk Cousins stinks.
You mentioned this with the Pittsburgh Steelers, why they weren't number 2 in your power rankings and why they were number 3 and why they weren't over the Chiefs. And you mentioned it was kind of like their strength of schedule. And the critique that's come towards Aaron Rodgers' way is that, Aaron Rodgers is able to feast off of bad defenses, but it's when you put him in important matchups. And it's these last couple of years, not going back to that, incredible triumphant effort that he had going back towards the Hail Mary years. And there was a Dallas divisional round playoff game a couple years back where he was incredible, but there have been some big games and good defenses that Aaron Rodgers has faced that he has not been successful with. So this is to start the season. The Vikings, the Lions, the Saints, good team, good defense, but we know that a struggling offense can make a defense and put a defense in a tough spot. So the Saints, they haven't been
the Saints offense was good that week.
They did. It was
and Minnesota, they weren't
shootout.
Banged up yet at that point on defense. And I mean, you look at how Russ competed, and now Russ was awesome in that game, but he outperformed against Minnesota with them fully healthy than Russ did against an injured Minnesota defense. Not taking anything away from Russ. So that's where it's like, and okay, yeah, he's played Atlanta and Detroit, but he went out there and did what he was supposed to do in those games.
Right. But my whole point, and a lot of the analytics community says that, well, Aaron Rodgers can do this against lackluster below average defenses. So for 75% of the matchups before this game against the Bucs, they were playing below average defenses. He feasted, good for him, but he plays a good defense. Now, also, I'm not going to fault Aaron Rodgers for not having a great day because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the team that they have assembled, I kind of slept on them a little bit. The team that they have assembled, they really, really almost fixed their secondary. They were known for having an awesome run defense, but a weak secondary last year. And they have such a complete defense. They arguably have the best defense in the National Football League right now. What a triumphant effort that they did. But also that has been the critique for Aaron Rodgers, that he has not been able to get it done against good defenses.
Here's my question. Has Kirk Cousins ever been better than Aaron Rodgers at any point of their careers?
You're bringing up Kirk Cousins. You're bringing up Kirk Cousins, and I'm not even bringing up Kirk Cousins. I solely want to talk about Aaron Rodgers, and you're bringing up this example, that example, this example, that example.
Debate technique by you. Look at this bum Kyler Murray, by the way, 3 for 12.
This is also a coaching league. So, I mean, I also don't like when people bring up the whole, but Brady had this guy, Rodgers had this, Cousins had that. I'm not going to blame a quarterback for operating well under a system. I'm not, this is a coaching league. I'm starting to learn as a young fan that this is way more of a coaching league than kind of it is a player. I would slightly give the edge to this is a coaching league rather than player. It's a slight edge.
All right. So since you mentioned coaching, that's a great transition into the freaking Jets. 0-6 got their ass shut out by the Dolphins. I get Darnold's out, Becton's out, so they're probably their best 2 players are out. I actually like Marcus May on defense. I'm sure there's someone else on that defense I'm forgetting.
A couple opt-outs on defense.
Do you think they are actively tanking? Because, they got rid of Le'Veon. Adams before the year. Adams forced their hand on that. Do you think they're actively tanking, and do you think there's any chance they put Darnold on ice? Because they probably want to move on. I mean, you can't – I think Darnold could have – really good success somewhere else, but I also would get the Jets being like, hey, this isn't going to be figured out right away, and bringing him back and signing him, it wouldn't work out well.
Here's the crazy thing about what's happening in New York. The GM, McCagnon, or is it Douglas?
Joe
Crap,
Douglas.
I keep on Joe Douglas. McCagnon was the former GM. My apologies. Joe Douglas is buddy with Adam Gase. And Adam Gase was in the ear of the owner, Chris Johnson, of the Joe Douglas hire. Since they basically fired McCagnon went out and he spent a ton of money for agency, signed Le'Veon Bell, signed CJ Mosley, made all these different acquisitions and moves. And then similar to what happened with Dave Gettleman a couple years back in Carolina, except this time it wasn't necessarily because the players just didn't like him. It was simply because Adam Gase and Chris Johnson seemed like they had a nice little golf date, and Adam Gase got in the ear of the owner. And it's going to be so strange. I know this isn't even the question what you asked me, but it really, the answer of what I'm talking about here is going to answer the Sam Darnold question. Adam Gase, it's so crazy, but people in New York sports radio, are acting like this. Adam Gase could go 0-16 and still have the Jets job to start next year.
No, that's not. There's no possible way. They're waiting till the end. They're just waiting till the end of the year, because what are they going to do? Promote Greg Williams to the head coach? And I don't even hate Greg Williams like other people do, but you can't promote like that's not like getting your guys raw. You know what I'm saying?
Chris Johnson has called Adam Gase a brilliant offensive mind.
What's he supposed to say though?
Joe Douglas isn't going to fire him.
Not for Gase, this season, but after the season, Adam Gase. There's no way Adam Gase will be back in 2021.
Adam Gase got Joe Douglas hired, basically virtually.
Doesn't matter.
Bobby, they may pull the card of this defense wasn't what we thought it was. They've had all these personal foul penalties. We had some guys opt out of COVID. Sam Darnold doesn't have enough weapons. Take the number 1 pick. Adam Gase finally gets his quarterback, and they keep him. And unless Woody Johnson could come back, if Donald Trump, this is a little political, talking football, talking politics. If Donald Trump loses the election, Woody Johnson could come back as owner and then just change everything up too. So there's that element in there too.
Wow. Donald Trump's going to lose the election because Bobby Skinner and Justin Pennick are going to win this damn thing. How about that?
It's a good point.
Yeah. Quick, 5 seconds. Does Trevor Lawrence come out if the Jets have the first pick?
No, he pulls a Peyton Manning.
I think that's a real possibility. I don't think that's even joking. I think that's a real possibility. Or they just pull an Eli and force their hand and be like, hey, we are not coming to the Jets.
Right.
All right, let's finish off quick because we spent some time on this. The Bears, man, I get the Bears haven't beat good teams. They've beaten the Lions, the Giants, the Falcons, the Panthers. The Panthers who are sneaky decent, but they did beat the Bucs on a Thursday night. Anything can happen on Thursday night, but they did beat the Bucs team that just beat the brakes off the Packers. And honestly, this Bears team is going to be in the playoffs, and do not be shocked if they make a playoff run. That defense is still really good, and then they're playing with confidence. They're only giving up 19 points per game. Quarterbacks against that defense completing 57% of their passes, 220 yards, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 15 sacks. And honestly, Foles has magic, okay? Foles isn't great. He's not a franchise quarterback, but Foles has that magic in the playoffs where he's just ballsy, and he doesn't give a damn about getting hit. He'll take chances. Foles has that magic. But we don't need to go deep dive on the Bears, but basically what I'm saying is do not be surprised if this Bears team makes a run. Do not be surprised if they win the NFC. I'm serious.
Yeah.
The Packers, I could see them sweeping the Packers. I really can. The NFC South, I mean, we saw them beat the Bucs. The Saints, they're iffy. The NFC East, yes. And then the NFC West. It's the Rams who look decent, the 49ers who look iffy, the Cardinals who aren't going to make it, and
Seahawks.
The Seahawks. So really it's the Seahawks.
Yeah.
I could see the Bears pulling something out. Don't sleep on this Bears team is what I'm saying. They're going to have some ugly wins, and they'll probably have a couple ugly losses because they Nick Foles is their QB. But don't be surprised if this Bears team makes a run.
Yeah, what the stats impressive about this Bears defense is their time of possession per drive is second, right behind the Pittsburgh Steelers, where on average opposing offenses are only holding the ball 2.5 minutes per drive. So even if the Bears offense isn't prolific, and it's not, but it's good enough to get the job done. And what the Bears do is they take advantage of opportunities that their defense gives them. This past weekend, the Bears got an interception, one of the first drives of the game. Bears capitalized for a touchdown. That was the difference in the game. Bears got an interception to seal the game against Carolina, and then they sealed it at the end too. So it's funny that usually the Bears, what they are known for and how they really made their money on defense, especially in years past when the Bears were good with Trubisky, it's because they put up such crazy turnover rate numbers. And those are very hard to repeat in the NFL. So that's why their defenses kind of fell behind a little bit these last few years. They haven't been able to put up the same turnover numbers. But the impressive thing is they're not putting up those same turnover per drive numbers, but they're still performing at a top 5 level. And that's very, very fun to see. And Nick Foles is just flat out a better quarterback and gives the team a better chance to win than Mitchell Trubisky.
Yep, definitely. All right, that's a 4-pack for week 6. We'll be back. We're still line reports. Be out in like 15 minutes. Shut up. We'll see you guys. Appreciate you. Let's go football. Let's go football.